Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo Legion 5 15IMH05H. Alright, we're going to be using a JIS-1 screwdriver to open it up. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. So to do that, what I do is I like to put them flat side down on my desk like this in the pattern I remove them. Okay. So we got like 4 going across here, 3 going across here, and then 4 going across down here. Okay, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to repair and upgrade their devices as well. Commenting also helps a lot. If this video helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. So this laptop is actually missing a couple screws. There's no screws on those 2 holes. Okay, it looks like these screws all appear to be the same length, and then the ones down here near the opening are actually a lot shorter. But it's always a good idea to keep the screws in order even if they all look exactly the same. Okay. Alright, once we got all these screws out, we're going to pop the bottom cover off here. Alright, the way I do that is I open up the laptop like this. Oops, let me set this aside. Alright, so I open the laptop like this. I'll get my fingernails in the gap here, and then I'll push with my thumb on the palm rest. Not on the trackpad, just the palm rest, okay? You want to be careful not to damage the touch pad when you do this, okay? Then we're going to go on this side, same thing. Pull on the little gap here, and then push with your thumbs. And you do need to get in between the gap to be able to pop the clips out. So here you can see that's coming out. We're going to slowly, carefully close this up again. Then we're going to work our way up the sides. So what I do is I run my thumbnail along there as I kind of pull up, and then we'll go along this piece here. Okay, it's a little bit tricky, but you get up here and then you pull on that. Okay, so there you go. Oh, some pieces fell out. Okay, we're going to go around to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure this is all popped out, okay, along the front again, and then along the side, okay, just like that, and then along this side as well, okay, just like this. Alright, some of it's not popped up all the way, come on, there we go. Okay, once we got that, we can kind of wiggle this up a little bit. If it doesn't come out by itself, we are going to have to go along the edge here as well and kind of push on that, and there you go. Okay, it feels like it all popped out, and here we go. We got the bottom cover off. Alright, so what we're doing here is the charge port is actually broken. So there's lots of bits of broken stuff inside here as well, apparently. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay. So what's going on here is, I don't know if the customer dropped it on it or what, but here you can see the charge port. You can see those metal pins. So it's broken. It should have a plastic piece inside. Let me show you what the replacement part looks like. We can use this as a thumbnail, so let me just center this string here. Okay, so we'll use that as a thumbnail. Alright. Okay. So here's what the replacement looks like. It comes in this plastic thing. It doesn't always have to come like this, but this is a lot of times how these DC jacks come, or the charge ports. Okay, and then the part looks like this. So here you can see inside, there's that plastic in there that separates all the pins. Okay, and then you have the little feet here on the sides. These are the grounding feet that hold it in place. And then you got all these pins on the back as well. Okay. So you can see there are 5 pins on the back, okay, and they hook in like that. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. They hook in like that. Okay. If you are kind of scared to take things apart, you can somewhat do it a risky way and try and use hot air and pull this out. But if you do that, you will want to put something between the motherboard and that. So you'll have to at least take a few screws out and lift it up slightly to prevent the plastic from melting. I'm actually going to take the entire motherboard out because I don't want to risk any damage to that. Okay, so we're going to go over all the components in here. But yeah, first thing we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the battery. Okay, again, using the GAS1 screwdriver. Again, you do want to keep all the screws in order. Oops, maybe we need to switch to a smaller one. Okay, so GAS1 doesn't seem to work there. We're going to switch to GAS0. Okay, and we're going to remove that screw. Again, there's a lot of screws, so you want to make sure to keep them all in order. It doesn't look like, do we have to remove this screw? Yes, we do. Okay, so we're going to remove this screw as well. I'm going to kind of go over what all the little components are that I see inside here. Okay, but let's go ahead and disconnect the battery first. It looks like this tray is covering part of the battery screws, so we are going to have to remove this as well. Okay. Kind of a dumb design if you ask me, but that's how they designed it. Alright. So get that out as well. Then we got this screw over here. Looks like there's an M.2 SSD under there. Okay. Alright. Oh, one more screw up here holding the fan along the fan area. Alright. Then we can take this metal plate off, I think. Yep, there you go. And you can see there's a thermal pad under here, this gray one. It's super thin. I don't know if it's even 1 millimeter thick, but yeah. Anyways, we'll set that aside. Okay, it is pretty dirty and dusty under this, so probably should clean this off. I'm going to use a toothbrush and just brush it off into the trash can next to me. So let me do that real quick and I'll be back. Alright, sorry about that. I'm back. Here you can see it's a lot cleaner now. Okay, got all the dust and fuzzies off. We're going to set that aside. Okay, we are going to have to clean this all out later because the fans are super dusty in here. But yeah, we'll wait to do that until later. So it looks like we're going to have to take the M.2 SSD out here. So it's kind of dumb because you can't even disconnect the battery yet, or you can, but it's really difficult. You might actually damage the connector. So we're going to undo this screw first. It looks like we're going to switch to a JAS1. Okay. And this is a, what do you call it? That's a M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. Let me make sure, of course, the computer is off. Okay, you don't want to do this while the computer's on. Alright, we'll take out that one screw there. It pops up at an angle like that, then you can go ahead and pull this out. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. Again, this is a M.2 PCIe NVMe. Oh, this is dirty, so let me clean that as well. Jeez, there's a lot of dust in this computer. Okay, anyways, we're going to set this aside. Okay, and here you can see there's a screw that was hidden underneath there, so we're going to remove that. We got to switch back to the JAS0. Okay. I feel like I've disassembled this model before, but anyways, set this screw aside there. Okay. So now that we got all those screws out, we should be able to take the battery out. Okay. Alright, so we can lift it up just like this. Let me actually zoom in here. I don't have that much room on my desk now because the screws are somewhat in the way, but we can lift this up. We're going to get underneath. I'm going to get my finger under there. As you can see, I'm going to grab with the other finger and then kind of just wiggle this as I pull it to get the battery out. Okay, so wiggle and pull. And there we go. Actually, there are wings on this one, so I could have used my fingernails to pull that. But you can see there's this cable doesn't really bend well, so it would be really difficult. But anyways, we got that out. Here's the battery. It's all dusty. We're gonna clean that as well. Okay. So I just have a trash can to my side, and then I just brush the dust into there. Okay. Here you can see it's a lot cleaner now. It's not perfect, but much better than before. Okay, we'll set the battery aside. I will have to clean up the dust on all the parts later because there's so much dust all over in here. Okay, you have the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. We're going to disconnect that, so I just use my fingernails at the wings of the connector here. Okay, let me actually see if I can zoom in more for you guys. There you go. Okay, so I just get my fingernails at the wings, and then I kind of just wiggle it as I pull, just like this, and it should eventually pop out. Just keep wiggling and pulling, and there we go. Okay, take note of which cable goes where. Red one's on the left side, and the right one, or the black one, is towards the RAM cover here. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to want to see the RAM, but let me go ahead and first open this up. After disconnecting the battery, we're going to press and hold this for 15 seconds. All right, this is very important, especially since we're going to be disconnecting the screen cable. Okay, so we're going to hold it a few more seconds, and yeah, again, it's only a few seconds, 15, 20 seconds. So take the time, do that, because it can save you like hundreds of dollars of damage that you might cause if you don't. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to check out the RAM. So underneath here, I'm going to use my fingernail to get underneath this metal plate and then just pull it up. Okay, might have to hold the motherboard down as you kind of do this. Okay, and pull it up just like that. And here we go. We got this metal plate off. You can see the RAM. There's two sticks. You pull these two tabs to the side, the RAM pops up, then you can pull this out. All right. So the type of RAM here, they covered it with a sticker. Let's see if the other one's like that, because I'm going to have to peel up that sticker if it is. All right. So we're going to pull these two tabs to the side, pops up, and get that out. And yeah, they decided to cover that up. So stupid. All right. So they have this, whatever that part number is here. But this is DDR4 RAM. Let me see if I can get this little sticker off so that we can see underneath. Kind of hate when manufacturers do this kind of stupid stuff. Basically, they hide the original model so that you just order based on their part numbers. Okay, and then you end up buying more expensive stuff because of that aren't necessarily any better or worse. So there's 8 gigs. And their sticker's actually tearing, so the sticker's not even removable, I guess. At least not without damaging the other sticker underneath, so that's a very dumb design. Okay, I'm gonna have to like keep constantly picking at this slowly, I guess. Let's see. Maybe if I peel it slow enough, I'll be okay. Sorry, I'm going out of view of the camera. It's zoomed in too much. Okay, so it's still tearing, but yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see underneath this sticker because of the way they did this dumb thing. I'm gonna have to like keep scraping at it to get all of this off. Very dumb design. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Let me keep peeling at this thing, and yeah, I mean, you're welcome to just fast forward until you see what when I get this whole sticker off. But I want to keep it in the video so that people can see how much trouble it is to do this kind of stuff. Okay, come on. PC 4, obviously, but I want to see what's under the other part of the sticker. Okay. I mean, this computer's already past their warranty, so, but you don't want to damage the stuff trying to get this out, so it's kind of stupid how they did this. Are you kidding me? I don't know. I can try using some rubbing alcohol or something, but I don't want to risk damaging the card doing this. So let me see. I'll just put a little bit. Try to get that in there and see if I can use that to scrub that off. Come on. The sticker's so difficult to get off for some reason. PC4 32. Okay, I think it's 3200. I probably don't need to really get the rest off because The RAM's usually like a specific speed. Okay, I think it's like a PC4 3200AA or something. Let me see if I can peel it off the other way, and then maybe that's enough that I can see underneath. So let me dry off the rubbing alcohol here. Okay, let me peel this sticker out, maybe, if it's possible. Okay, let me see if I look at this through the light, if I can see. Not really. 30 PC4. Yeah, okay, so this is PC4 3200AA RAM. Okay, sorry it took so long for me to get that information for you. Again, you are welcome to fast forward through stuff, but it's kind of more important that you see everything, okay? Alright, so we're just going to stick this piece of RAM back on there. Alright, and we're just going to put this back in the computer. So let's go ahead and put this back here. We didn't actually even have to remove this metal plate to repair the charge port, but anyways, we're going to put this back. Hopefully that stick of RAM is okay. Alright, let's go ahead and grab this cover and stick this back on, line everything up, and click it back into place, okay? Just like that. Alright, you got a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive here. We already took out the SSD, but there's a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive here. We're going to remove that as well. Well, actually, we don't really need to remove that. We can just disconnect the cable here. So if you want, you can flip this latch up. Oh, I should probably zoom in here so you can see. Okay, so the cable's connected here. We can just flip this latch up, and then you can actually pull that out, and the hard drive is disconnected. Hard drive is actually very easy to remove. I'm not going to show that here because I don't think I need to. Well, do I? Yeah, no, I don't think so. Okay. Actually, let me do it because we got to get it around this board. Okay, looks like we're still using the JS0 here. Okay, let's get all these screws out. There's 4 screws holding this hard drive with the hard drive caddy down into place. So let's go ahead and remove all of those. This is a lot of screws, so keep that in mind. Looks like all these internal screws seem to be about the same length, so that's a good thing, at least for the most part. I don't know, there's, oh, why is one screw missing here? Oh wait, that was with the battery. Oops, let me zoom out. So this one screw is, there isn't one because it was with the battery, but we did remove that one as well. Sorry, I was doing that off camera, I didn't realize. Let's go ahead and lift this up, and we'll set this aside. This is 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. This bracket can be removed. There's 4 screws holding it in place. Then you can pop the hard drive out. This piece you can transfer over just like this. You can see I can pop it out, and then you can move that to a new drive or even a 2.5-inch SATA SSD. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside. Alright, what do we got next? Is this held down with adhesive? It doesn't look like it, so we're gonna flip this latch here, just like on the hard drive one, and then we're gonna go ahead and pull this cable out. Alright, there we go. Make sure it flips all the way back. Sorry, I'm gonna have to keep like zooming in and out, but yeah, let's go ahead and pull this cable out. If you can't get it out this way, you can also remove the screw from this board and then pull that board out, but I'm gonna try and avoid having to do that. Looks like they're hiding something underneath the fan here, probably another screw. I don't know why it's being so difficult to get out, but let's try with this thin tool here to get underneath and help lift it up and pull this cable back. Okay, so yeah, I don't know why this cable's being so stubborn. It doesn't want to come out. Alright, let's see, can we get under this blue tab here and grab that? And wiggle and pull it. Did they put an adhesive on there? Okay, I think there's an adhesive under here. Yeah, so there's some adhesive under here that was making it difficult to remove. So they probably want you to kind of lift this out to take it out. Anyways, let's go ahead and zoom out now. We're going to have to take the motherboard out, so there's probably going to be quite a few more screws. I'm going to try and keep this whole thing in view of the camera so I don't have to keep switching around. Okay, and then we're going to just remove all the screws and try and lift the motherboard out. It looks like they're hiding stuff under here, so I might have misquoted this customer because I have a feeling I'm going to have to take the heatsink out and redo the thermal paste, which is going to suck. It's going to make my job a lot harder. But it looks like that's what's going to have to happen. Alright, so let's go ahead and start removing all these screws here. They are labeled with little arrows pointing at it. Okay. But yeah, it's a lot of screws, so remember to keep track of all of them. Okay. And we got, oh, there's one down here. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to have to remove the heatsink. Alright, got one here underneath this. We're going to switch the JIS1 screwdriver. Alright, hiding underneath the warranty sticker or anti-tamper sticker. This is how they know that you actually opened it up. Alright, these screws are much longer and bigger. Okay, got those two out. Sorry, I gotta move some stuff out of the way. We'll take that metal plate off. Good. Alright, what else we got here? Yeah, there's a cable hidden underneath the heatsink here, so we are going to have to remove that. Let's go ahead and remove this screw all the way over here. We are still using the JIS1 screwdriver. Okay, so we're going to remove the other screw on this side. Okay, it's a lot of screws. It's going to be a lot to keep track of. Okay, I warned you. Alright, let's go ahead and get these two out. Looks like these are all JIS0. Okay, we're missing a screw here. That was likely being held with that metal plate. Alright, we're going to disconnect the wireless antennas. So the wireless antennas, you just pull up from the tails here. So just go from the tail and just pull it straight up. Just like that. Same thing with the other one. It helps to kind of use from both sides and then just pull it straight up. Alright. And then we're going to thread these wires out. Oh, I guess they're held. That sticky pad just came out. Alright, so we're going to leave that in there. Normally the wires will come out from there, and then we can unloop it from there. We got one wireless antenna. Oops, let me zoom out here. So one wireless antenna is here. That's what that copper is. And then the other wireless antenna is here. Okay. Alright, we got the keyboard connector here. We're going to flip that latch up, and we're going to pull that cable out. Okay, you do have to kind of lift up a little bit as you pull it out. There we go. Okay, you got the speaker connector underneath here. Oops, I should have zoomed in for you guys. Speaker connector is under here. A little bit tricky to remove. I'm going to use my fingernails at the wings and kind of just, again, wiggle as I pull. There we go. Okay, we got another connector underneath, it looks like. So I don't know where that's going, but this is most likely the keyboard backlight connector. I think it's connecting to the bottom of the motherboard. This design is very stupid and forces you to kind of remove everything, it seems. Okay. Okay, what else we got here? I might have to just start removing the heatsink screws. Okay, we're going to remove this cable here. This is the trackpad. There's another flip latch here. I'm going to use my thumbnail, lift it up. Then we can pull that cable out. Okay, there's a little adhesive, so make sure to get rid of that or pull it out. Okay, so I think the rest of the screws remaining are JIS0. So we're going to remove those 4 all the way across where the fans go. Okay, that one, or I guess 3, sorry, 2. And the third one here because this one was with that metal plate. Alright, 3. There we go. Alright, so after you remove those screws, can we remove these fans or is it stuck? I think it's stuck underneath the heatsink. Yeah. Either that or it's, oh, I see. You have to lift this up slightly back over here, okay? Because it's on a little protruding piece. Let's go ahead and remove the fans. I'm going to use my fingernails at the wings of this connector and wiggle as I pull. Oops. Wiggle as I pull, and there we go. We disconnected that. We're going to do the same thing here, but this one you slide back. So we wiggle and pull that backwards. There we go. And let's go ahead and lift the screw or the fan up. Okay, and then let's see if we can slide that out. And yes, we can. Wow, there's so much dust in here. I gotta hold the heatsink up, it seems. Okay, maybe we can't remove it this way because it still seems like it's stuck on something. And I don't know what it's getting caught on, but it is stuck on something. Oh, I guess you probably can, but you have to like lift it more and kind of maneuver it. So, there we go. Wow, look at this dust ball here. This is like real lint. Oh man. You see that? All that lint there? Wow, look at that. There's some under here too. Yeah, this is pretty bad. This is like the amount of lint that I would get from my dryer. Not really, I'm exaggerating, but you know. Look at that. Wow, okay. So I'm gonna have to clean this fan out and everything else in here, obviously. Okay, we're gonna get out the other fan here. So I'm pretty sure it's the same. We lift up here. Okay, and then we can lift this out, I think. Right, so it has to go over this plastic mount here. Of course, the safest way is if you actually take the whole heatsink out first, because you can see this is kind of getting jammed here. It gets stuck, it's caught. You kind of have to lift underneath the heatsink while you're doing this. But if you're like just trying to replace the fans for some reason, then you can possibly do it. It's just a pain. Okay, you can see this one's kind of getting jammed. So you kind of gotta wiggle it around, find the right position, and there we go. We got this one out as well. There's so much lint trapped in this thing as well. Okay. Come on. Oh man, okay, I'm gonna have to use tweezers for this. So let's get the dust all out of here. Okay, and out of here. Look at all of that. Jeez. Okay. So we're gonna set the fan aside now. Clean out this dust a bit more. Get the lint. Use the lint as a duster, as a dust absorber. Okay. Wow, this is way worse than I was expecting. Okay. Anyways, there we go. We got the dust lint balls out. Set that aside as well. Okay, so something is still holding this down. I think it's time we take the heatsink out. Okay, so we're gonna use the JIS1 and we're gonna just undo all these screws. Okay, these are held in with washers, it seems. So we're just gonna slowly undo all of them. You'll hear that click, and then that's how you know it's completely undone. Okay. Alright, so we got all those screws out. Let's see if we can remove this. Alright, so we're going to slowly, carefully lift this. Be careful not to apply too much pressure to the heat pipes because they are fragile, and if you lift it you can bend these. You don't want to bend those. Okay, you can see all the thermal pads under here. Oh, there's some like crumbs and dirt under here. Lots of dirt under here. Okay. Alright, so I'm trying to get this dust out. It's not really too important that you get all that dust out, but we do want to get the dust out of these vents. Okay, so I'll set this aside for now. We're going to clean that up later. And also all of this. Man, look at all that dust that was trapped under there. That's pretty crazy. Okay, and here's why we had to get all those screws out. It looks like it was actually holding it down to the keyboard. And then also we have the LCD LVDS connector here. We're going to flip this latch up. And then once we do that, we should be able to lift this cable out. Oh man, did they seal this down with adhesive? Okay, so we kind of have to lift it a little bit and work it. Pull this back. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of adhesive holding this in place. So again, it's very important that you did the battery reset. If you remove this before doing that, there's a very good chance you fried your motherboard already. Anyways, we're gonna set that aside. Okay, let's go ahead and see, can we lift this up? We're gonna carefully, very carefully lift this. It looks like it's held down with adhesive here, so I'm gonna get under here. Okay, make sure that's up. Yeah, there's adhesive under there. And we're gonna slowly, uh-oh, we almost missed that one screw here. Ooh, that's dangerous. Okay, good thing I was going slowly, because if you just rip this out, you killed your whole motherboard. Okay, so we're gonna get that screw out. All right, and let's go ahead now and lift this carefully. And here you can see where the keyboard backlight connector is attached. We're gonna flip this over, and here you can see it's plugged in under there. So we need to peel this adhesive out. This is Kapton tape, which is like a high temperature electrical tape kind of thing. All right, we're gonna move that aside. Then we're gonna flip this latch up, and then we can pull the keyboard backlight cable out. Okay, so here we go. We have the motherboard, and we have access to this to remove the charge port. That was really big pain, but yeah, we got there. Anyways, I'm gonna use a toothbrush, brush this dust, loosen it up, and then I'm gonna use an electric air blower to blow it out. All right, that I don't really record because I have to bring it outside to do. All right, so let me go ahead and clean the dust off on all these components, and I'll be back. There's a lot of pieces, so this, yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so I'm back. So we dusted this all off. The bottom is all clean now. Okay, it was all really dusty before. You can see it's a lot better now. Okay, we also dusted out this whole thing here, and we dusted out both these fans. You can see the fans are a lot cleaner now. Okay, so anyways, what we're going to do now, we need to replace the charge port and then redo the thermal paste, and we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and set the computer aside for now, or the rest of it, not the computer. Okay. All right, so the charge port here, it's going to be pretty difficult to replace, I think. We'll see what we can do. Looks like we're going to have to, the easiest way would be if I could cut these feet off and then just heat and pull each one individually. But most likely what we're going to do is heat it from the bottom here and slowly, carefully pull this off. But I don't know if I'll be able to do that because there's these little components here on the side that can fly off if there's too much heat applied. And there's also these tiny components here. So, it's going to be pretty difficult. And then on this side, there's also a bunch of stuff here as well. So, I'm going to have to see if I can cut this up to pieces to make it so I can remove each one separately. That would be a lot better. So let me see if I can get something here. I'm gonna put this box here. I'm gonna put this on there. Okay, let me try this first, because if I can cut individual pins, that'll make it a lot safer to work on, because I can use a soldering iron to do this instead of the heat gun, okay, or the hot air station. So we're gonna use this little cutter thing here. Zoom in. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna record this. I might have to do all of this off camera, but yeah, this is kind of not an easy thing. All right, so let's see if I can cut these. It'll reduce the thermal mass to each pin by a lot, and then we can easily replace it. Yeah, it's pretty low, so it's really hard to cut like that. So I don't know if I can actually do that. Let's see. Can I? Let's see if I can. Maybe I can cut this thing through. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. So this is just plastic, so I can actually break this plastic off. What about the metal side? Can we cut through that? That adds a lot of thermal mass, and if we can remove that, it'll make it a lot easier. Okay, so we're gonna cut through that. Looks like it's working. Okay, we're gonna cut through this side as well. Interesting, they put plastic through on this side as well as metal. Okay, let's actually cut through the top here because that's easier. Sorry, I'm going out of view. Okay, is it actually cutting all the way? There we go. Then we'll cut this side as well. Okay, basically what we're doing is we're trying to remove as much thermal mass as possible, so that way when we go to heat it, it will heat up fast, and not have to like heat all this excess metal stuff. Okay, so we're gonna get over here, cut this. Okay, I don't know if it's gonna cut or not. Looks like it's being tough. There we go. Okay, we're cutting at these corners. Where'd that metal piece go? It just flew out here. Okay, you want to be careful with these metal pieces. Here it is. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we got most of it out. We're going to now separate these individual pins here. So let's see if we can cut this. Okay, I don't know, it's ending up just like tearing, but let's see here. I'm gonna try and cut this off. Sorry for the bad camera, whatever, videography, I don't know. But I'm trying to, it's hard to make sure I'm getting good angles here. Alright, we're gonna cut this. And the thing with doing what I'm doing here, you want to be very careful because you don't want to accidentally tear stuff off. So, like, you don't want to put pressure on the board in the wrong directions and end up breaking that. So, okay, so we're getting this metal stuff out here. Okay, you can see we're getting all this metal sleeve out. Okay. And this is actually connected to the feet over here, okay? Because those are the grounding pins. Okay. So this is somewhat going to be difficult, but let's see what we can do. Right. Get the plastic around it out as well. Okay, we're gonna break that solid black plasticky thing up and drop that out of here. You can use some tweezers or needle nose pliers. Getting rid of the insulating stuff. Okay, got most of it out. There's still some bits in there. I'll cut it all up. Okay, so most of that's out. And the sleeve is just to connect the ground pins. So there's the one out here and then the one over here. So if I can cut this piece here, we can get that completely out. Oh, sorry, I'm getting bad view for you guys. Hopefully we can cut that. Okay, so we're gonna cut this piece here. There you go. Okay, so here you can see this pin is all alone now, so removing that will be a lot easier. I'm going to use needle nose pliers to try and bend it up if I can. And be careful not to damage the motherboard, obviously. So now when I heat this, I can just pull on it while I'm heating it, and it will come out much easier. Okay, get some more of this black plasticky stuff out. And here you can now see like how each pin is connected there. You can see that one goes to that pin, this one, the middle one goes there, this one goes there. All right, you can see each individual one. Let's go ahead and break this plastic off here. Okay. Kind of cutting it all up, but there we go. It's kind of getting stuck on those pins. All right, there we go. So now we have access to like each individual pin here, as you can see. And we want to reduce the amount of thermal mass. So basically get as little metal as possible for each pin. So we're going to separate this one here. Okay. Then we got this here. Ooh. There we go. And we got this one here by itself, so we do need to cut that as well. Let's go ahead and cut this off. Okay, it doesn't want to cut. There we go. Okay, we got this one here. It's just holding by this little metal piece, so we're gonna cut that as well. Let's actually cut this one first. Oh shoot, I'm shooting these metal pieces out everywhere. It flew somewhere, I don't know where. Okay, and the other thing is you don't want these metal shards on the board, so make sure that you clean it off, blow the dust out of it, and all that. All right, let's see if I can bend this a little bit to make it easier to access. We can cut that off. Okay, it's shooting like out all over there. And this one. There we go. Alright, and then the last one here. So we're gonna fold this one upwards, make it easier, and then we're gonna cut that off. Okay, drop that one on the floor. Alright, so we cut all of that up. Let me throw all the stuff here away, all the little pieces that we cut off, and yeah, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. I found the other two ones that kind of shot out. Here you go. And we're just going to toss all that stuff away. Alright, anyways, what we're going to do now. So here you can see, let me see if I got this in camera. There you go. We can see each individual pin here. We're going to have to heat this up and then pull those out. And then basically we're going to put the new one into here, okay? And this will take its place. All right, so let me go get the soldering iron ready, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So I got the soldering iron ready. Okay, so it's over here. I mean, I can't really get it all in camera, but I have the soldering iron ready here. So we're gonna use the needle nose pliers, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold on to this. These pins as we kind of heat it, and then we should be able to pull them out. Okay, so let's see if we can do this here. Too much stuff all over the place. All right, so I'm gonna heat this up. Should loosen up, and then once we get it hot enough, we should be able to pull it out. But let's see here. Okay. Looks like it's being a pain here. It doesn't seem to want to come out easily. Come on. Putting a lot of heat in it and it still doesn't want to come out. Let me clean the soldering iron tip here a bit. Come on, get off. Okay. Let's try applying this solder here. Clean that up. It should be hot enough to melt it, but for some reason doesn't seem to want to. Come on. Huh. It's pretty crazy. It doesn't want to come out. So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna flip this over. I'm gonna try heating from the bottom, and then we're gonna try and pull it out this way. Okay. So in order to do this, I'm likely going to have to. What we're gonna do, we're gonna add a little flux here. Okay. All right, and then I'm probably gonna have to add more solder, but let's go ahead and see. All right, so we're gonna try and melt it from this side. And grab from the bottom here. See if I can melt it. Come on. Wow, it's still not coming out. Okay, let's add some solder then and see if that will help. So we're gonna heat this and we're gonna add some solder there. Okay, so we got some fresh solder here. Let's see if we can heat that and pull this out. Wow, even with fresh solder, it's not. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got that pin out. Go. Okay. All right, we can do the same thing with all the other. I guess 6. All right, let's add a little flux here as well. We gotta be careful because there's all these little components right next to it. So I don't want to put too much flux there, just a little bit. Okay, let's see if we can heat that up enough that we can pull that one out. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to add some more solder there. Okay, you can see even with that fresh flux, the solder doesn't want to stick in there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're getting it to stick and melt, and I think we should be able to get this one easier. Yeah, that one came out not too bad. Alright, so we got that one out. If you're wondering, the metal piece, there's still like solder stuck in the holes, so we're gonna have to clear that out afterwards. I'm gonna use the solder sucker vacuum thing to do it. Okay, but for now we gotta get all of these pins out, so we're gonna add some flux to these as well. Okay, so we add flux. We're going to also have to add some solder too if they don't come out, but let's go ahead and see if we can pull this one out. Yeah, I'm going to have to add solder to it. Okay, let me clean this off. And then we're going to add some solder to it. Okay. Go, pull that pin. Wow, this one doesn't want to come out. this is going to be tough because these pins, like the way they go in, are really thin. So it's really hard to even grab this thing. Okay. Doesn't want to come out. Alright, let's add some more solder and flux, I guess. If you add more, it increases the thermal mass and keeps the heat there longer. Okay, but let's see if that's enough to pull it out. Wow, it doesn't want to come out at all. Come on. How is it stuck so strong there? Well, let's move to the next one because that one doesn't want to come out, and we'll see about removing that later. Okay. Come on. There we go. Oh, I gotta scratch off all the old stuff. Okay, it's coming out. Okay, that one came out. I don't know what's going on with this one. It doesn't want to come out at all. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this pin. It doesn't want to come out at all. This pin doesn't want to come out. Okay, I guess we'll move to the next one. Alright, that one came out easily. Let's try this one. Let's add some solder there. Okay, this one's coming out easily as well. Need more solder. See if we can get this one out. It was coming out so easy earlier. What happened? There we go. Okay. Last one here. Let's add some more solder to it. I don't know why these two outer ones are so difficult to remove. It doesn't want to come out at all. What is holding it in there? The solder's all melted. Okay, I don't know what's going on with those two. They don't want to come out at all. Let's take a closer look here. I don't know. Doesn't look like anything special. Let me see if I add solder to this side then. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Let me... Let's try this again. I don't know what's going on with this. It doesn't want to budge at all. Like heating it completely on both sides. It doesn't want to budge at all. Let's try again from this side. I think because these are connected to the ground, so it's like heating all of that. So let's see, I'm gonna have to I don't know how I'm gonna get those pins out. For those, I might have to physically cut the pins off of the replacement one if it's not gonna come out. Come on. This is crazy. What in the world? How is it not hot enough to pull this out? This is crazy. I don't know what's going on with these two. More flux. I don't think that's going to help, but let's try. Won't hurt. Oh, here we go. Okay, finally got it. Too much thermal mass on those. Okay, let's try the other one. We're gonna add more thermal paste on the, or not thermal paste, we're gonna add the solder to the back here as well. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I gotta add some to the soldering iron. Then we'll use that to stick that on there. Okay, I think that's actually working. So it heated enough that it moved. So we'll flip this over and we'll grab that last pin out, hopefully. Here we go. Okay, we got all the pins out. Next thing we gotta do is we gotta use the solder sucker to get it out. So basically I'll heat it up and then I have this thing that I'll use to suction it out. But I have to do this over the edge of my desk because of that, I'm not able to record that. So let me do that real quick and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, well, I removed as much as I can, or I could. So what we're going to do, these two, because I think they're the ground outside, don't want to be removed. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to heat it while I'm pulling this through. Okay, and hopefully that will get it to go into place. So we're going to flip this over here. And I'm going to heat it from the bottom here while I'm kind of pushing up on it. And hopefully we can get like a corner of it through. And then after we get one corner, then we'll work on the other corner. I cleared out all the rest, so we should be okay. And yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to fill up these two corners with more of the thermal paste. Or not, I keep calling it thermal paste, of the solder. Okay. And that way I have more thermal mass to heat this. And then hopefully that will allow me to pull that pin through. Okay, so we're gonna heat this up. Okay, I think that's gonna work. So we're gonna now try and get this in, and we're gonna heat that one pin. Let me zoom in here. Okay. I don't know why some of these are so difficult. I don't know if maybe I'm doing something wrong. I'm not like an expert soldering. Okay, it definitely went up now. Okay, so I feel like that pin actually went up in there. Let's go ahead and let it cool down and take a look. And we'll rotate this, and yeah. So you can see this side, oops, this side actually went in. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Heat that up, and hopefully we can get it to even out, and both sides will be in completely. Okay. Alright, hate these kinds of solder jobs, but that's what we gotta do. Alright, so we're gonna heat that up. Add some solder there. Alright, so now we got, oops, sorry, going out of view. We've got the solder. Let's see if we can heat it up and push it through, hopefully. Come on. I think it's good. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look from the other side again. And it's a lot more flat. It's not completely flat, so I might have to do a little more on this side. But it's getting there. It's pretty good. Okay, so let's go ahead and heat that up some more and continue seeing if we can pull it through further. Okay. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. Try a little more on this side. There we go. This side actually went a lot higher. Let's go ahead and do this side again. Are some of these not coming through all the way properly? Maybe it's not only that piece. This side doesn't seem to want to go down all the way. Oh yeah, okay, that would be fine if I could heat this enough. So you can see now this one actually went in all the way on your left, but the one on the right is sticking up quite a bit. And the problem is this side has all the thermal mass, so I don't know if we'll be able to get that side to go in. Let's keep trying. Come on, melt it through. Ooh, it's hot. Okay, that side doesn't really want to go. So I'm not too sure what else I can do. I can try and heat it from this side. I don't know if that's the only piece that's having the problem though. What I could do is I can pull this through and solder that in place. No, that will probably burn my hand. Okay, if I pull on this to push this piece, maybe I can heat it up enough and it will pull itself now. Let's try. Doesn't feel like it's, ow. Okay, well, it actually might have worked. So this piece is actually staying in a lot more than before, but not completely. Yep, it's working. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna heat it from this side and see if that will work. Sounds like it worked. Okay. We're just about there. Let's keep on pulling this and heat it up a bit more. I think we are there. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, I think we're pretty much there. Let's take a look again. It's not completely flat, but it's very, very close to getting there. So I think I need to add some solder this time to the back. I'm going to add some solder to the soldering iron. We're going to use that to put on this pin, and then use that to transfer the heat better. And hopefully that will allow me to push it in. That's probably about as much as it's going to go now. It looks like the rest are kind of staying in place, so I think we should be good to go. Okay, everything else seems to be staying pretty well. So let's go ahead now, and we'll solder this. I'm gonna actually solder this one down, okay, on this side, because I want to make sure it has a good strong hold. We're just gonna put a little bit there. Okay, so what you do is you heat this up, and then while you're heating it, you put the solder to it. I don't know if you can see. Oops. I'm probably gonna have to add flux to this to get the solder to stick better. So we're gonna add the flux there. Around it. The flux basically makes the metal stick to, or the solder stick to the metal. I don't know the science behind it. I think what they said it does is it removes the oxidation when it burns, and then that helps it stick better. Okay, let's go ahead and add solder there. hard to do this with this angle. Okay, so that's probably the only one I need to solder on the back. Let's go ahead and flip this over now, and we're gonna solder all of these into place, okay? So we're gonna get solder, actually the solder already flowed into there, so I think we should be good. Let me, it helps to use flux where you want the solder to go, and then we can just tap it on there, the solder that's on the soldering iron. Okay, and you can see it actually filled that up. At least hopefully you can see that. Okay, so you can see, nice solid solder job. All right. Touch the solder to there. Okay, need a bit more. Clean off the soldering iron tip. There we go. Alright, so we're going to do that to all the pins. Hopefully my head's not in the way too much. Oops. Okay. Get the solder to go into there. Oh, that one already has solder. And this one too, but making sure. Okay, I'm going to add some flux to these 3 pins just to make sure. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to add the solder to those spots. Okay. That in there. Bit more, and we'll be good. Put a little of the flux on those 2 side pins. Some there and some there. It also helps the solder kind of ball up. Okay, looks good. This one needs a bit more. Maybe also a little flux on that one. A bit more. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's take a look at the other side. Make sure that we have a nice solid connection. I do see solder coming through on the back here on all 3, so I think we should be good. I'm going to heat up the backs here just to be safe and make sure. Okay. And that should be good. Sorry, I don't know what I was showing you guys, if you guys were even able to see anything or you were just staring at my head. But we're good with that. Okay. So now we just gotta clean up the flux that's there. Okay. And then once we have all the flux cleaned up, we can go ahead and reassemble this thing. Okay. Sorry for kind of just staring at nothing. I need to clean the soldering iron real quick. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and put the solder stuff aside and let's clean this thing up. Okay. So the way I clean this thing up, I use, sorry, put this stuff aside. Okay, so the way I clean this stuff up, I use isopropyl rubbing alcohol and paper towels. Okay, and we're just gonna clean off the flux stuff that we added there, stuff that didn't burn off. Okay, so we just get this paper towel, get that on there, and then we just wipe this stuff up. All right, flip this over, clean the other side. Basically the orangey yellow stuff, we're cleaning that off. I don't know if you can see that there. Let's clean this side. Good, alright, and clean this. This one. Alright, you can see all that gunk that came off. I'm gonna flip the paper towel around and clean it up some more. All right, there we go. And then I like to take the toothbrush, put this away. I like to take a toothbrush and then kind of just brush that stuff up a little bit. Make sure there's no lint stuck to it. Okay, and we should be good to reassemble. Here you can see close up what it looks like there. And on this side. Okay, so this side's a little bit harder. Let's see if we can clean it with the toothbrush better, because it did seem to have a little bit of gunk still on there. Yeah, that stuff kind of doesn't come out. Let's use a little bit more rubbing alcohol in there, and we'll clean that side better. Sorry, we're going out of view. But we're basically cleaning this up now. Okay, that's probably about best we can get it. So there you go, that's what that side looks like. Alright, let's go ahead now and put this thing back together. So we're going to zoom back out here. I need to set this aside. I'm going to have to clean that up later. Okay, so we got the base, or whatever you want to call this. Alright, then we got this piece that we're going to have to put back. So line this up. First thing we're going to do, get the, before you forget, the keyboard backlight connector back in. You don't really need this capped on tape here, but if you want, you can leave it. All right, anyways, we're gonna flip this latch up, hold this latch back. We're gonna get this piece and we're gonna slide it in. Okay, once you slide that in, latch that down. All right, what I like to do is I like to use this little tab to kind of use my fingernail and help push it in. So I'll use that to kind of make sure it's in all the way. Okay, and then while I'm holding that, I can flip the latch down. Sorry I couldn't zoom in on that, but there you go. Put that tape back and we'll flip this back over. And then we'll drop this back into place. All right, get everything, make sure you're not smashing any of the cables underneath. And then the little tricky one is this LCD LVDS connector. It helps to kind of peel this up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Flip this latch down. You want to be very careful with that cable. You don't want to damage it. All right, we're gonna slide this over here and get this into that raised mount there. Okay, just like that. Then we'll take this cable, get that all lined up, slowly get it in as we're dropping this down. Okay, make sure it's pushed in all the way. Very important, because if this isn't in all the way when you turn on or power up the computer, you're gonna fry it. Then latch that down. Good. We're gonna slowly line everything up here. Okay, again, make sure all these cables end up back on top. You don't want to accidentally leave stuff underneath and then we won't be able to put it back together. So get that out. All right, make sure these cables are all back on top and this one as well. Okay, so next thing, we're gonna get this cable back in. Let me zoom in a little bit to show you guys all these parts. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get this I/O cable back in. This board is replaceable if you do damage it somehow. Let's go ahead and get this cable back in, and then we'll slide this latch over. You just slide your finger over it. Don't try and use your fingernails or pry tools or anything. This is for the USB port, the LED indicator, and the 1 key recovery button. Okay, so we got all of that. If you want, you can actually put in a whole bunch of these screws back before getting everything else back in. But you're gonna have to keep track of what you put in first and where. Okay, so let's see, what did we have? Technically we can go ahead and put the fans first here. Okay, make sure you put the right one in the right spot. So this fan can go like that, but it can also go like this. Are these fans exactly the same? No, they're not. I remember this fan had this little thing sticking out here, and that covers that screw mount here, so make sure you get that one in the right spot. Oops, sorry. Okay, this one has this little plastic sticking out, and that's how I know that's where that one goes. Line this up, and if you're getting a replacement fan, make sure you see these pins are exposed here. That you want facing this direction, okay? The other side has the little plastic parts that stick out. Okay, we're gonna get that in, and then we're gonna push that down. Good. All right, then we got this other fan over here. Get that lined up, and this one you want the exposed metal pins facing up. Okay, on the original fan they actually draw like a little marker dot on it, so you know. All right, line that up, get this lined up, and then pinch the two pieces together. Oop, I don't think I got it in right. Line it up, come on. Okay, line it all up, and then pinch it all together. There we go, all the way. All right, we can actually put the wireless antennas back in now if we want, so make sure to get this back down underneath that notch here. Just like that, get that in place. And then white wire goes to the white arrow and black wire goes to the black arrow. Make sure it's lined up. The way you know is when you get this antenna and you kind of get it in place, you can see when it's in place it kind of doesn't move around. Then you can go ahead and click it down. All right, same thing with the black one. Okay, and there we go. So click those in place. And they had this sticker here that doesn't really do anything anymore, but you can try and push it down. Yeah, it's not going to stick anymore. Alright, so there's that. Okay, oh actually it did stick down. Okay, keyboard cable here, make sure this latches up. We're going to get the speaker connector in first, obviously, because it's underneath. And then go ahead and push that in. Make sure this latches up. Get the keyboard cable in. Okay. It helps also if you undo the adhesive, but it's also a little bit dangerous. You can damage the cable if you don't peel it up right. Okay, so we'll get the keyboard cable in all the way and then flip that latch down. It looks a little crooked, but looks like it doesn't really move any more than that, so I guess that's all we got. Okay, flip that latch down. Alright, we got the BIOS CMOS RTC real-time clock battery. We can plug that in as well and then pinch that into place. We got the touchpad trackpad cable. Line that up. Get that into place. Slide your finger over the top. Alright, are we missing anything? Okay, SSD was over here. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. I don't know if we're covering any screw holes. I don't think so. I don't think there's supposed to be a screw there, so let's go ahead and put this SSD. Okay. And this is using the JAS1, so I need to switch back. Okay, lower this down. And get this screw in. Good. Alright. We're kind of going in like random order right now, but that's okay. We can get this metal plate and put this back here. Okay. We're not going to put the other stuff yet, but we did have all those screws. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, let's keep going. We got the hard drive here. If we do need to take stuff out, because I'm going in a random order right now, then I'll do that later. But okay, so we got the hard drive here. Hopefully I'm not covering anything. Make sure that latches up. Okay, get the hard drive back into place, lined up. Alright, get this cable back in. Can be a bit tricky here. Come on. There we go. Now that that's in, again, slide your finger over to latch it down. It looks a little crooked. Let's see. No, that's just how it is. Alright. Slide your finger over, latch it down. Okay, we have the 3 hard drive screws we're going to put back. Again, we got to switch back to the JAS0. Get this screw in. Okay, get this screw in. And the last one down here in. We are going to have to clean all the thermal paste off of this and the heatsink. Okay. Alright, so we got all of that in. Let me see here. Then we had all the keyboard stuff. There was 1 screw. Let me make sure I get all of them back in. Okay, so we're gonna do these 3 here. So we had this one right there. Oops, sorry, going out of view. We had that one right there. Then we had these 2 here. That one and this one. Okay, then we had this one down here. Then we had this metal bracket here. And these two screws. These ones are actually JAS1, so let me switch the screwdriver so I don't damage those. This one and this one. Okay. Those all in. Okay, that one and this one. Alright, then we had the two that hold the fans in place. So we had the one on the left here. Okay, hopefully I can put the heatsink on top. Alright, then we had this one here. Pretty sure I can. Okay, what else we got? We had 3 and then 1. So let me see. If I take the heatsink, let me make sure I can put this on top. Okay, so the heatsink went on top like this. Okay, there was this one screw. Oops, let me zoom out here so it does go on properly. Zoom out a tiny bit more. Okay, so there's this one tiny screw that was down here that I almost missed last time. So we're gonna put that one back in. There's no arrow there pointing at it, so it's kind of weird. Right, then we had the 3 other fan screws. We had the one here, the one here, and the one over here. Okay, we're just about done. I do have to redo the thermal paste soon, but let's go ahead and make sure we got all the rest of the screws right. So we had 1, 2. Let me see, where's the... Okay, we got the battery here. So I'm not gonna plug the battery in yet. Oh, this goes underneath, shoot. Okay, this has to go underneath, so I'm gonna have to do that one first. We had that one. Oh, that was the one that I missed. Okay, so we'll take this back out. Take this back out. Oops, we have to use the JIS1. Hate how they switched around like JIS1 and JIS0. Okay, but anyways, we'll get that lined up. Will I be able to plug this in later? If I lift this up and kind of curl this, then you can kind of do it, but that's kind of risky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the SSD out for now. Okay, and we'll leave the other metal plate out. We'll leave the battery out. Let's do the thermal paste real quick. So we'll take this thing back out here. Okay, and I'm gonna wipe or scrape all this gunk off here. So I have like a tool like this, and we're just gonna scrape all this off. Okay, and this stuff, yeah, it's somewhat solid. So I'm gonna do this off to the side, scrape it into a trash can, and I'll be back. I'll also do that on the motherboard. Alright, I'm back. So I scraped it all off. You can see I scraped it off on here too. I still need to clean it up a little bit. You can see actually there's some residue here. So, and then I used like a little thin tool to get the stuff out from between these little, I don't know if those are capacitors or resistors or whatever they are. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to get some paper towel, put some rubbing alcohol on it, and wipe off the CPU and GPU die, as well as the heatsink part. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some on the here. Okay, and then we're just going to clean this off. You can see it had some residue stuck on there. All right, and it's a good thing we're doing this because actually the thermal paste was pretty solidified on there, which means it actually was getting pretty hot to where it dried up the paste. All right. Okay, so there we go. We cleaned that up. We're going to do the same thing for the heatsink. Make sure to keep your hand underneath the heatsink to prevent like bending it and stuff. So we're gonna kind of just clean that off with the rubbing alcohol. Okay, and clean this one as well. Wow, that's pretty bad. Okay, I think we're good to go there. Okay, there you can see it's about as good as we're gonna get it. We're gonna toss that aside, and now we're gonna use the thermal paste. All right, so let me grab a tube of the thermal paste here. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, here we go. All right, and we're gonna just fill these things back up. Let me actually clean this a little bit more, get the lint off. Okay, I don't know what that little speck there is, but it doesn't want to come out, so I guess that's permanently there. Anyways, we're gonna put a line across here. These dies are pretty big, so we're gonna need quite a bit here. Okay, this stuff does push pretty thin, so you don't need a crazy amount. Actually, I probably put too much here, but there we go. All right, it'll kind of spill out over into the side, so that's okay. All right, but you don't want it to spill out too far. Uh-oh, battery's running low on my phone. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to turn this on. You're gonna hear some staticky noise, but I mean, you're gonna have to live with it, because otherwise the recording's not gonna go through. Okay, so next we're gonna fill up this one. Sorry, the flash is off now. I don't know if I can turn it back on. I'm gonna finish this real quick, and then we'll try and turn it back on. All right, so we're gonna try and, oops, let me try and go sideways this way. Okay, and that's actually plenty, because it will smush really thin. Okay. Go. This side I probably put too much, but all right, let's see if I can turn the flash back on since I started charging it. Nope. Battery's too low. It's at 15%. All right, I have to wait till it goes higher than 15%, but here you go. That's what it looks like. All right, let's zoom out. We're gonna put the heatsink back on. It is numbered, so it tells you the order to put the screws in. Okay. So we're just going to flip this back over, get this back lined up. Okay, slowly, carefully drop that back into place. There we go. All right, make sure you have the JIS1 screwdriver bit in. All right, and then we'll look for the numbers. We got 1, 2, 3, so we're going to go here. I like to turn it backwards to hear the click, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3. Okay, number 2, click, 1, 2, 3. Number 3, click, 1, 2, 3. Then we'll go to number 4 over here, click, 1, 2, 3. Number 5, click, 1, 2, 3. And number 6, click, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we're going to go over all of them again. This time I'll use my other hand. 1, 2, 3. Second one, 1, 2, 3. Third one, 1, 2, 3. Fourth one, 1, 2, 3. Fifth one, 1, 2, 3. Sixth one, 1, 2, 3. Go again, 1, 2. Okay, this one's already tightened all the way, so we'll tighten all the rest all the way. Okay, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. All right, so there we go. Then you can go again one more time, just make sure everything is nice and tight. 4, 5, and 6. All right, and there we go. So we got everything reassembled. Let's go ahead now and put back the battery, and then we're gonna have to plug it in and make sure it charges, and then we should be good to go. Okay, so battery first, we're gonna have to actually plug this in. So be careful at this point because now the computer is live, has power. Okay, so we're gonna get this in, pinch that into place, good. Get all of this lined up. Okay, looks good. We had that one screw that was under there, so we're gonna get that in first. I believe we have to use the JIS0. Okay, so we'll get this screw in first. Tighten that down, perfect. All right, then we'll get the SSD back in there. Goes in at an angle, push it in, get the screw. Oh, we do have to switch the JS one for this. Okay, lower it down, make sure it's lined up, and tighten that into place. Good, now we'll switch back over to the JIS0. Let me see if I can turn the flash back on. Nope, okay. We're gonna put this back over it. Okay, and I'm gonna loosely fit this screw first because we gotta get all of this lined up. So we'll get this screw in loosely, okay. Then we got the second one here, loosely, this one. Okay, now line everything up and go ahead and tighten it down. Okay, this one kind of wobbles all over the place, but there we go. This one in. There we go. And the last one for that metal plate. Good. All right, now we just got the 3 battery screws left. We got this one here. Okay, we got this one down here that also holds the hard drive. And then we got the last one down here in this corner. Good. All right, let's get the bottom cover back on. Of course, I dusted this as well, so it's clean inside. Just get this, flip it over, line everything up, and just click everything back into place, okay? Pretty simple, straightforward. All right. Nothing really special about this part. Okay, looks good. And then we just got to get all the screws back in. So I think we're supposed to use the JIS1 for this, if I remember correctly. And let's go ahead and get all these screws back. All right, so we got this one. Again, this case was missing some screws. Let me see if I have some matching screws, because if I do, that will actually work better. These are somewhat skinny screws, but they're also somewhat long, but not too long. So it's going to be a somewhat tough match, I think. This one might work, but the top is a little too wide. This one also will work. What about this one? I don't know why Lenovo likes to use these types of screws. That one's too long. They like to be different from everyone else. Okay, well, we'll see if those work. Hopefully the head isn't too wide and won't get stuck, but we'll see. All right, so this one should be okay. Uh-oh, actually not. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. I think it's gonna be stuck in there. Can I even take it back out? Oh. To take that screw out, I'm gonna have to undo the screws here that I put in. So I don't know, I don't have screws with heads that are that small, so I don't think I can replace that. All right, let's go ahead and try and pop this screw back out here that I put in. So I'm gonna pop this stuff back out, pop this back out. Okay, and let's see, can I push it through from the bottom? Kind of, there we go. Okay, yeah, so if that screw's too wide, then the other one's definitely too wide. So, okay, more bits are kind of falling out. Sure, okay, let's make sure to click all of this back in. And sadly, the screw heads on the one that I found that seemed like it would fit are too wide. So if I put it in there, it will get stuck in the hole, and that's not really good. So we're just gonna put them back without it. Okay. All right, so we'll get all these screws, and that's pretty much it. We're going to power it up, make sure everything's working. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, if it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You're welcome to stay as I get all these screws in. Again, I am going to plug it in, make sure it powers up, because obviously that's important. If it doesn't turn on, then this whole repair was for nothing. So hopefully that was the only issue, because sometimes people think it's the charge port, and then I mean, the charge port was broken on here, but sometimes they end up like shorting it out, like using their other charger, and bending it around. So let's go ahead and see. All right. So we'll plug this thing in. Right. It's not expecting this repair to take so long. Definitely not charging enough for this job. But anyways, let's go ahead and plug this in. So we got that. I see why they have an issue. It's because they like tie half of it like that. Yeah, you don't want to mess around with stuff like that. You want to leave it completely extended if possible. Okay, and we'll get this. And I gotta be careful because I got screws back there still. And now we can plug this in. And the charge light is on. That's a good sign. Alright, I gotta be careful with the screws back there. Let's open up the screen. Oop, oop, oop. Okay, let's open up the screen and push the power button. Actually, the power light was already on, so that was weird. I actually hear the hard drive spinning. Okay, the screen just came on. Because we reset the BIOS, it's likely going to turn off and back on. Oh, okay, it's already on. So we should be good to go. Let me move this so I don't knock all my screws out. Okay, the charge cable's in a weird position, but it did turn on. We got Windows 11 boot screen and everything, so we should be good to go. That's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share my channel with others, comment, and if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider sending a little my way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye. Whoa.